Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Food Tank, for inviting me to this awesome summit. And also thank you very much, Very Good Food Foundation and Michelle Lee Rock for inviting me to this event. This is really, really awesome. I know Food Tank's always usually trying to find out the story, the food story of a farmer or persons. My earliest memory of food goes back to Liberia, West Africa, where I'm from. I was born in Liberia, West Africa, and at a very young age, there was a war in my country, and due to that war, a lot of people were displaced, and we ended up in a refugee camp in another neighboring African country. So while we were in that refugee camp setting, we did get a lot of rations, and the rations mainly came in rice, oil, and beans, and those were the only things we got. So a lot of the women that were in the group, or a lot of the elders that were in the group, were always trying to come up with ways to sustain us with other foods that we needed. So out of the woodworks, seeds came out of African cloths, and people were saving all of these seeds, and they started to grow these gardens on the refugee camp. And because of those gardens, a lot of people's lives were saved because they had the nutrition that they needed to survive the refugee camp. So fast forward, I was able to come to the United States, and I joined the United States Navy, where I was able to travel the world, and I ended up in the Middle East, where farming once again followed me. I was able to see a lot of the farmers that were farming in some of the harshest conditions, and that just really, really made me want to be a part of the farming industry. When I came back to the United States, I started finding ways to farm, and one of the first groups that came out was the Farmer Veteran Coalition. The Farmer Veteran Coalition was very, very empowering to us veterans that came from the Middle East and other parts of the world, with giving us funding and some of the access that we needed to be able to farm. Also, being a veteran, I was able to afford a VA loan to buy my property and buy my house, and these are some of the things that a lot of farmers, young farmers nowadays, are not able to do, is to get access to land. And I was very fortunate to be able to get that through my VA loan. I'm a first generation farmer. We do honeybees, and we also do a lot of garlic at our farm. And one of the reasons we wanted to focus on those things was because the area that we were in, there were a lot of bees already there. The valley was called Bee Valley, so easy name. And then also I went to Cuyamaca College and studied horticulture, and I did a test plot of a lot of different crops that I thought could work in our area, and garlic was one of the only ones that kept coming up, and the reason why was it was easy to grow, and the pests didn't really like it, and I didn't have to fence it, and I could grow a lot of it very, very easily, and they like the cold. So we grow a lot of garlic, and we will focus in on that kind of agriculture because it's really sustainable to us. We don't have to really do too much to put out the units that we need. Also, there are a few groups in San Diego that are helping veterans with access for farming, and it's really, really awesome to see that some groups are there to help veterans farm. For example, San Diego Farm Bureau, my wife is on the board of the San Diego Farm Bureau, and one of the things they're focusing on is they're really trying to help drive policy up in Sacramento to help us young farmers have access to the things that we need. I got a chance through Michelle Lee Rock to meet Governor-elect Gavin Newsom, and one of the first questions I asked him was, what's Sacramento, or what's the government doing to help farmers or help veterans go into farming? Because we were out there fighting for our country, and I think coming back, we want to be able to also support our country in farming. So that's why it's really awesome that organizations like the Farmer Veteran Coalition and Farm Bureau and these different organizations that are really helping spearhead to get veteran farmers the access that they need. And I hope there are a lot of organizations out there that will help farmers like myself get the things that we need. A lot of young farmers are facing a lot of issues trying to start a farm. I can say I'm very fortunate to be able to get the access that I have, and I still struggle every day. I work full time. I'm the horticulture manager for the water conservation garden here in San Diego, and I read a book a while back saying if you want to farm in Southern California as a startup farm, you better get a second job. And, you know, because there's just, you have to constantly work, you know, and it scares me to see a lot of our farms that have been, you know, thriving for long times, and all of a sudden they're just losing their farms because of what's going on in our environment and what's going on with the land access and water. And so a veteran farmer like myself, if anybody's out there listening, policymakers and Congress folks, it really helps us young farmers want to get back into farming. If it's, I don't want it to be easy, because farming is not easy, but if we have the access and the help that and support that we can get from big organizations around or big government, as some of our young farmers call them, and just to be able to help us get the access that we need to be able to farm. I never thought that farming would be one of the things I would ever do. My grandfather actually grew rubber in West Africa because rubber was the biggest commodity in Liberia, where I was from. So Firestone Company had the biggest rubber plant, the tire company in the world in Liberia. So for me to be able to do this and be on this platform to inspire young farmers is something that I always want to do. I have a bunch of talks that I do. I talk to students and community gardens about seed collection and about preserving seeds and soil retention and soil protection and different things like that. So I think as education, we get the education out and the word out for and more farmers, young farmers, can get the access that they need to be able to farm. I think the world's going to be a better place. I lived in a refugee camp for 7 years, so food to me is really important. I mean, a lot of you know, understand about food, but I was starving. Sometimes I didn't have food. I used to dig holes in the ground to get water. We used to wait in long lines to get food. So food is very, very, very important to me. We talk a lot about food. A lot of people say this and that about farmers and how different things are degrading the land, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, we all got to go get something to eat. And I think I hear that a lot after we have all these conversations. At the end of the day, let's go get something to eat. So I think farmers are just kind of being forgotten, and it plays a big role in our community if farmers are respected and the land is given back to farmers and not just given away to everything else but farming. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's all about let's go get something to eat. So I'm really, really happy to be here. Thank you very much, Food Tank and Very Good Food Foundation. Thank you, San Diego, for being really, really awesome and trying to help farmers and young farmers thrive and hopefully get to a better place. And I just say this for all young farmers that are out there: don't give up, keep trying to farm, and try your best to do whatever it takes to get in that dirt. Thank you very much.